What's up guys, my name is Jake5 and welcome back to another episode of the F1 My Team Career Mode, and a very exciting one as we have a new circuit at Las Vegas. This is going to be a very exhilarating race and I'm very much looking forward to it. Before we do that, we don't actually have any more upgrades in terms of the regulations that we had to meet, so we've actually done all the parts of that and we can kind of go to Las Vegas to kind of enjoy it in that way. We're not obviously going to be, there's no championships to be won, there's nothing to be won apart from the race, but we are so excited to be able to be on this circuit. The first time I've actually been on it also. It is really tough in terms of the long straights that it kind of has on the track. A lot of straight speed, a lot of kind of DRS trains on this circuit, and there is a lot to give also. It's a really tight corners as well that I feel like kind of really changed the way you kind of go on the accelerator onto the straight, definitely when you'll be battling with other opponents on the grid. Really good track though. I felt like the car suited it in terms of its straight speed. We focused a lot on the powertrain issues in terms of what we need to upgrade. In terms of going up as well, on that way, we felt really strong. The corners didn't feel the best. I felt like the car, in terms of the straight speed being so high, didn't feel like I could get on the brakes quick enough to be able to then have a precise corner. Did feel tough going around here at different points, but I feel like the track is mostly made up of straights more than anything. There's not many times where you will lose half a second or even hundreds of a second. The straight is really long, full power as you go over the line, and practice felt really good. It was refreshing to have a car that was decent on track. Obviously there was points, as you can see there on circuit, we were kind of going at times where we would go around the corner and we'd just be skimming the wall more than anything, having to be really careful with our front wing and also our left tyre or right tyre depending on the corner. But as I say, it was a really positive track to run on, and I felt really confident in terms of going forward, putting in some decent lap times also as we kind of got used to the track. I didn't actually do any programs initially. I have actually done some fair few laps on this track just because I need to get used to it. I feel like it's always wise to do so. Throwing yourself in on a new track where you're not actually used to any points of the circuit whatsoever, and I've literally only watched some clips on YouTube. I've actually not really kind of known a lot about it apart from that we knew this was going to be on this year's F1 game. But yeah, it was really good practice. Did a few laps in that way, and then we kind of shifted on to qualifying. But I just allowed myself enough practice time, go from there and then see what we could do in all honesty as we go through these final few corners. A 1:12 currently on the practice times. We get a purple sector there which turns to green, as you can see, about our straight speed, 225 miles an hour, being first on the speed trap. So as you said, we were never reaching them sort of speeds on any other circuit. This is the only one that is purely possible due to the straights, and it just doesn't offer a lot of times where you need to go hard onto the brakes. As we near the end of this practice program, we went top with that one, but we sit in P6 in practice. A 1:35.6 was the best that we could provide, only about 600 of a second actually dividing the top six, and not that bad in all honesty. As we look forward to qualifying, feel like we can do a positive lap times. Didn't feel like I needed much time to be able to do so either, as obviously we had so much track time at practice. And yeah, we did it really well in the first sector. I felt like we were strong and we hit the ground running. Obviously we don't have any control over our overtake currently as we are on these qualifying laps. As I say, I don't need to complete many if I know I have some sort of know-how of the track, and I feel like I can maybe just put in a hot lap and kind of get it done and over with, and we push on to the race. Purple sector 2, I'm not too sure as someone behind me has made that actually me turn to green, but that does show we are fast, as we are sitting currently P13 as of the moment. So obviously we haven't had a lap time, but we are very close to making one as we hit this long straight before you go round this bend to then go on to the checkered line, as we look to see what time we are going to create. We actually do go pole initially, 1:33.4, so in an excellent lap, seeming that the straight speed is working in our favour, and we qualify in P2, 0.136 off top, being Carlos Sainz, and definitely a Grand Prix to look forward to, that is for sure.
Welcome along to Las Vegas. Saturday night's all right for driving. Well, it is here tonight as F1 takes over the entire city and the Formula One circus comes to town. 17 corners, 3 straights, 2 DRS zones, and the glitz and glamour of Las Vegas as we race around the 3.8 miles of Sin City. The strip has been taken over to become a straight tonight, commanding top speeds of around 212 miles an hour. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. It's Carlos Sainz in pole position, and Cook completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Hamilton, Leclerc, Perez, Russell, Norris, Gasly, Fernando Alonso, Oscar Piastri, Ocon, Bottas, Tsunoda, Magnussen, Joe, Stroll, Hulkenberg, Massa, Sargent, De Vries, and Alex Albon picks up the last spot on the grid. With preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track. Joining me for the Grand Prix once again is none other than Anthony Davidson. Now, can I get your take on Max Verstappen? They've had a fantastic campaign, a wonderful year. They come into this weekend's Grand Prix as a fully deserving champion.
I agree it's been a truly impressive season, but championship or no, I don't think they'll be gently cruising around to the finish line. In fact, with points no longer a concern, there's a lot less to risk, so we may even see a more aggressive.
Here we are then, we're on the track with P2 as we wait for the 5 lights to go, and we can get racing then as the rev limiter is up to the highest, and it is lights out and away we go then as we are battling with Carlos Sainz as we go into the first corner of this Grand Prix. It's going to be pretty much wheel to wheel as I've got the inside, he's got the outside, trying to push the Spaniard off to the side as we try and slot ourselves into P1. Brilliant start of this Las Vegas Grand Prix, and definitely more of this to come, we hope, as we push on and see if we can make a charge going forward then as we got Carlos Sainz in second, Lewis Hamilton in third. He's creeping up on Sainz as you can see in the rearview mirror, and as I was saying about the straights, there's going to be a lot of bunching, there's going to be a lot of slipstream, and there's definitely going to be a movement within the grid then as we look to have a healthy lap 1. Nothing really happening in terms of in front of us as we try and maintain as much speed as possible. Carlos Sainz taking a look on the inside then, he has a better line going out of that, he's got the drive also. Carlos Sainz up into P1 then as we see if we can make any sort of a move. Decent exit, trying to use the overtake, we're going to have no DRS until lap 3 remember, as we try and battle it out with Carlos Sainz now wheel to wheel as we're going to be going into the corner, and we've got Lewis Hamilton just behind Max Verstappen. It's pretty much 4 abreast as we currently see the grid changing, shopping and changing there, as you've got Lewis Hamilton just there as he's harder on the brakes than he is Carlos Sainz. Carlos though is getting the better of him momentarily, but Hamilton does go up into second as they battle it out. Hamilton and Sainz switching positions as Verstappen stays in 4th, Charles Leclerc in 5th, as we look to complete the first lap of this Las Vegas Grand Prix. 1 down, 17 to go then as we create the fastest lap for the lap 1, and as we try and push on further into this Grand Prix as the laps get ahead of us. And as you can see, we're still on lap 2 of 18. We've made a fairly decent gap between Hamilton, but we know that's going to change on the straight as we go through this tight bit of the corners. As you can see, late onto the kind of brakes that you are going to tap them slightly as we do get a fast sector 1, so we're definitely proving to be the faster on the grid. Lewis Hamilton is just behind us then as he tries to see if he can push on the straight. He's definitely going to take a look as he gains ever so closer, 200 of a second. Pretty much 100 of a second now as he's going to creep to the wheels of the side to side, but we're trying to see if we can kind of push him out any further as we go every way he goes to try and slow him down. That has worked slightly, but he is faster than us, that is for sure, as he tries to make a move late onto the brakes going through the corner then as we are near to the end of this lap 2 of 18. Many more laps to come though, and many more battles, that is to be said, as we're on lap 3 of 18 now. Half a second splits ourselves in second. We've got Carlos Sainz in 3rd, Max Verstappen in 4th, and Charles Leclerc in 5th. Verstappen on the different tyre of the harder compound, with Leclerc also on the medium compound, with most people going for the softer tyre. As you can see, his teammate is there. Carlos Sainz is pretty much there, as so is Lewis Hamilton, both trying to see if they can make a move as we go onto this big straight then. Caution in sector 3 as we resume racing, wondering what will happen. Is anything going to pop up on screen? Is there going to be a change in this Las Vegas Grand Prix? And yes, there is. Red flag in Vegas then as we wait to see what happens, and we're going to be back on the starting grid, and this is going to be interesting to see what tyre we now opt for, because I do believe if we opt for a medium tyre we won't actually have to kind of stop. As you can see, the incident then that did cause the actual red flag itself, Oscar Piastri going hard into that corner, he slides to the left going straight hard on the right, and it just completely spins the car, and he can only watch the other opponents drive on. He doesn't actually collide with the wall or anything like that, but there has to be a red flag because it will take him a little while to get back onto track. No red flags we've had recently. The last one we've had was since Hungary, I'm pretty sure. That's only the second we've had all season. No real safety cars, yellow flags in any sort of instance whatsoever. But for sure, this is now going to be interesting to see what sort of change this will make to the outcome of the Grand Prix. We were comfortable in first, and I hope this doesn't hinder our performance that we've got on at the moment as we wait for the lights to go out then for a second time in this Grand Prix. And it's lights out and away we go then as we make a brilliant start, heading straight to the front of the pack as we've got Hamilton just behind Carlos Sainz. We've all opted for the medium tyre, may I say, as Verstappen in fourth, changing the fifth. We've had Leclerc, we've had Russell, we've had Perez. The grid is chopping and changing then as we do have Hamilton just behind us. Whether he's going to try and make a move, who is to say? We're not going to have DRS just yet. A bit more overtake we've got as Hamilton does try to take a move on the outside of this corner. We try and kind of see if we can push him out any further as he does collide with Carlos Sainz there momentarily as they battle it out for second place. Hamilton wins the battle at the moment as we try and go late onto the brakes there, but as you can see, wide into that corner, going to be losing a lot of time there as Hamilton is right on the rear of this car as we go on to one of the first long straights here, and we're going to hit sector 1, so this can be interesting to see if we are the faster. No, we're not. We are red in that way in terms of, so the medium tyre, I guess it's from the start, so we're going to be waiting for another lap on this medium tyre to see if any difference is made. You can see as we went into that corner, Lewis Hamilton nearly collided into the rear of the vehicle, and he is right behind me. There's going to be a bit of slipstream there. He's going to try and get out of the dirty air at the same time though, as he does go wheel to wheel. He's on the right hand side, bearing in mind the inside line is on the left then as we try and see if we can make any sort of difference. We have actually pushed on and he doesn't seem to be as fast, and maybe the tyre isn't warmed up as of yet. He's definitely going to be giving me some more battles though, that is for sure then, as we look really comfortable and the medium tyre seems to be warming up really well, and we actually don't look too bad whatsoever. It'll be interesting to see what the second lap on this actual tyre will be like and what the outcome will also be. Lewis Hamilton in second then, with Max Verstappen seeming to be kind of benefiting from the restart. He's currently in third with Carlos Sainz dropping to fourth, with Sergio Perez in fifth. Sainz kind of dropping to fourth is a kind of shock because he did have a really good start. Obviously he started P1 also, but Lewis Hamilton is the one to worry about in second as he is literally moving left to right to see if he can make an overtake. Hands being thrown in the air then as he does collide originally. We actually do get a better exit compared to Hamilton as he really went deep into that bit. As you've got Max Verstappen just behind Hamilton, he's definitely going to take a look then as we're on this long straight. I don't think we've got DRS as of yet. Well, for the ones behind anyway, we're not going to have, with us being in P1. Max Verstappen getting better off the Mercedes engine. He's into P2 now as he charges forward past the Mercedes engine. Really easy, and another caution sector 3. What that is, who is to know? And that is a lot of smoke coming out of a vehicle, and I can only presume that is a vehicle of Lewis Hamilton as he goes down the pecking order. And as you can see, he's not even in the top 5 now. He went into that corner being P3, but unfortunately it looks to be, we're going to have it in a minute to see DRS enabled though. That is good to see in an aspect, but I want to see who has actually gone out to be able to confirm Lewis Hamilton is out of the Las Vegas Grand Prix. There you go. The engine was bellowing smoke out there and I just couldn't see what actual car it was. I can only notice from him going down the grid. Still tries to give it through that corner, but the car just gives way, and that's lucky there's no collision being made also, as there's a lot of cars going fast into that corner and there is no way for him to pull out of the way. Lap 8 of 18 then, and this has had it all, this Grand Prix. This has definitely been action packed, that is for sure. Big DNFs, big red flag also, as we try and battle off the world champion of Max Verstappen. The 3-time champion is right behind us and he's trying to see if he can take a look wide into that corner. That's not going to be for the best of exits, as Max Verstappen definitely get the better of us, as we try and see if we can make any difference going out that corner, and he is definitely trying to push us to the side, not allowing any sort of overtake, with Carlos Sainz making a decent gap. He's up into P2 now as Max Verstappen drops to 4th. A yo-yo effect in terms of what the grid is being at the moment, with Carlos Sainz in 2nd, Sergio Perez all the way up to 3rd, with Max Verstappen in 4th. Brilliant overtakes by Carlos Sainz. He charged through the pack then as he really hard on the straight, as we're going to have another chance to see what happens there as Sergio Perez moves to the left hand side of Carlos Sainz as he tries to see if he can take a look. I think he actually has overtaken him also. The second the teammate of Max Verstappen is actually ahead of him, and Carlos Sainz, and what you got there, so Fernando Alonso, and Charles Leclerc getting the fastest laps. There's a lot of fast people on track currently as we try and battle off Sergio Perez then, and he's made a brilliant overtake there. We get a better exit though, and we seem to be stronger on the exit on that certain corner, even though he has actually maintained some decent time, and he is just behind me currently, as we're going to try and see if we can do anything to battle him off, but I'm not too sure because the Red Bull machine is definitely faster. We've got Verstappen there also, we've got Carlos Sainz there. There's only 100 seconds between 4 of us as they go 4 wide. our ERS is being drained. Hands are being thrown in the air once again as we do have a collision. Not too sure if that's been noted by the FIA. We slot into second then as Sergio Perez goes on the charge. He looks unbelievably quick going around this Grand Prix. As we get near to the end of lap 9 of 18 then we're going to be moving on to lap 10 as we try to see if we can take a look on Sergio Perez. Brilliant kind of stride in that corner, and we are through. Wheel to wheel we go then as we try and see if we can get any sort of edge on Sergio, and yes we do, but we see we're having so many moments where we go wide into that corner, and once again Sergio Perez has definitely kind of made the most of that, and he has gone straight past me then. He definitely looks better through this circuit as we try and see if we can stick with him whatsoever, as we've got Charles Leclerc in third. He's on the harder tyre, bear in mind. He's making it work as we've got 8 laps left of this Grand Prix with Max Verstappen dropping to 4th. He was having a brilliant moment where he was actually leading at one point, and we've got George Russell, so the teammate of Lewis Hamilton. Obviously he actually went out of this race, but his teammate is still trying to get a podium as he moves up to P4 then, with Carlos Sainz just in P5. Sergio Perez is literally right in front of me, but he seems to be kind of gaining little by little in this lap, and as you can see the gap is about half a second now, so we're not going to get DRS, and the big worry is going to be Charles Leclerc and George Russell or Esteban Ocon moving up into 5th. A poor Grand Prix for the world champion of Max Verstappen, as we now try and see if we can hold off Charles Leclerc and George Russell, but that is going to be a tough task, as we seem to kind of not really benefiting from this restart, and we could have done without the red flag more than anything, and that's been the annoying thing. I feel like if we didn't actually have that, I feel like we would actually be in a much better place, but we're going to try our best then, as we have got Charles Leclerc side by side then, and this is going to be really hard to see if we can actually make it last in terms of the battle. He seems to be better on the straight then, as we have most of our ERS gone. The rev limiter is being hit late onto the brakes, that is to be said, as we go on the outside of the corner, but we seem to make it work, and we maintain our position of P2 with Charles Leclerc just behind me. George Russell in 4th, and the P5 position keeps on changing with now Fernando Alonso in the P5. That is a name we haven't said in a while, that is for sure. As we complete lap 13 of 18, we batter the wall there as we make sure our car is all good, making sure there's no damage and we don't need to pit whatsoever. As we drift through that corner then, it's lap 15 of 18. There are not many laps left at all. We're still in P2 with Charles Leclerc just behind us. He's made a brilliant move. What an overtake that is by Charles. He pushes us out wide, losing a lot of time, and we lose even more because we see Esteban Ocon's just behind us, and we've actually put ourselves into P4 currently. And once again checking there's no vehicle damage, because that was in some ways it was a brilliant overtake by Leclerc, but it was a bit of a dodgy one at the same time. And lap 15 of 18 now, we're actually seeing ourselves in P4 as we try and make the jump up, and Charles Leclerc, see you later, and that is a brilliant overtake on this straight. We're looking very, very fast as George Russell's just in front of us. He maintains P2 momentarily as we go wide through that corner, trying to see if we can even maintain P3 with the battle we've got with Charles. A slight collision there, no notes whatsoever by the FIA once again, so I'm definitely not in the wrong, that is for sure, as Charles looks to be pitting, and that has to be the end for Charles's race. And unfortunately for him, that is a one where he just collided with me, and I can't do anything about that whatsoever. A front wing damage, and that might just solidify our place in P3, but we actually aren't going to have to worry about Esteban Ocon. It's not one I normally have to say. Esteban is fighting for a podium place, and it's a very rare one. I know we've had some issues in terms of people going out of this Grand Prix, so he's jumped up a little bit. Still a very, very good ride by the Frenchman as he tries to see if he can take a look at his first podium of the season. Esteban is definitely going to look as we go wide, if we can get the better exit, that is to be said, as we got Fernando Alonso just behind us. Ocon's teammate of Pierre Gasly also in the mix as we slot in ourselves back into P3. I do believe we're going to get DRS on that straight. Yes, we do. We're straight past him. We definitely are faster compared to these vehicles that we have got on track currently. Obviously the ones in front have excelled massively, but that's only to be that they have got a stronger car. But the likes of the Alpine and Aston Martin, we're definitely ones to be able to battle with and go from there. Lap 16 of 18 then, not many laps left whatsoever as we try and end this Grand Prix with a podium place. Be really nice to finish off Vegas in a decent place, and then we've only got one race left. Hopefully we can make a mark on that one then as we go to the end of lap 16 going on to lap 17. Hopefully we can solidify our place in this Grand Prix. We do go wide on that corner, allowing some time. As you can see though, the battle between Alonso, Gasly and Ocon has definitely made them lose time also, but Alonso has gained a lot of time, and as you can see, lap 17 of 18 he collides with the hand being thrown up, wondering why everyone's just bashing into me this Grand Prix. Alonso makes an overtake, he slots himself into P3 momentarily with Pierre Gasly in 5th, Esteban Ocon in 6th. We get a decent kind of stride in our exit, and then getting forward we do get DRS also, which is really handy compared to a Fernando Alonso, and we do go back into P3 with Pierre Gasly overtaking Alonso, with Esteban Ocon making up the top 5. as we try and get to the end of lap 17 then, as we try and maintain our place. This is definitely going to be a last lap battle, that is for sure. Nothing is kind of certain, I'd say, more than anything, that is to say, as we go to the end then, lap 18 of 18, 1 lap left then, as we try and see if we can do anything just to hold them off. Esteban Ocon is there, Pierre Gasly is there. It's definitely going to be hard to hold them off then, as they are right behind me. Pierre Gasly 400 per second, 300 per second on this straight. Fastest lap goes to Charles Leclerc on that softer tyre, where he probably did pit. Unfortunate Grand Prix for him, as he probably will only walk away with the fastest lap, as we have Pierre Gasly going really tight into that corner, and he maintained a decent bit of speed, also gaining a fair bit of time, as he actually maintains a certain kind of pace, as we see if we can hold him off little by little, as it is a tight bit of the circuit here and we have to go fairly slow, as the tyres are pretty much done. The medium tyre would have obviously been put on probably about lap 8, lap 9, but obviously with the red flag we've had to use the medium tyre for a few more laps, and as you can see they are pretty much worn out, as Pierre Gasly looks to see if he can take a look and claim a podium for the first time this season then, and we're really pushing him off, really trying to see if we can push him away from that one, as we get a decent exit, and we've had some real battles through that corner. It's definitely been deciding to see who can get a better exit out of that one and maintain the pace, as we now have Pierre Gasly troubling us on that straight. He's going to have DRS, so he's going to be a little bit quicker. Not much ERS to use either though, as we try and go low onto the brakes and try and get that podium spot. Sergio Perez claiming the race win then, as we try and see if we can get past Pierre Gasly. We do that, and we pretty much should be it then, as we hit the final corner of this Grand Prix, and that will be a podium place in Las Vegas. So the first time that we have run this circuit, we finished P3. Brilliant Grand Prix, nothing but class, as we look forward to the podium celebrations. Really strong Grand Prix, battled with the big boys, and I felt like we held our own when we needed to. The straight speed worked really well. I felt like we were strong in them areas and made up a lot of time. Corners we wasn't as strong as, and that's where we did lose the time, and then had battles where we did have overtakes, and I felt once they got onto the straight they maintained so much time through the corners that it allowed them to even make an actual kind of overtake on the straight also, with so much time gained. But we held our own, as I say, and we're going to be awaiting the podium celebrations then, with Sergio Perez coming in first. George Russell would have been second, as he did overtake me, if you remember. And then we have ourselves in third then. A brilliant Grand Prix. A brilliant top three also. Max Verstappen not having the best of Grand Prix, even though he's world champion, it wasn't to be this time round. It's his teammate instead. A very good Grand Prix run by Sergio Perez. Probably a little bit of luck on the red flag, but that is that though, as they spray the champagne in Vegas, and we can celebrate that one, that is for sure. As we then look onto the standings then, not a lot's changed. I think we'd have to make a ridiculous kind of jump up to even be in a decent spot from where we are. I mean, we're standing in position 6 at the moment, not too bad whatsoever, and I feel like that's really comfortable to end the season on. I feel like that's kind of really decent for the first season, and we're going to have the 4th best team in the paddock, so not all is bad then, and as you can see, that's the final standings. So we've got one race left, and we're very much looking forward to it, but that will be next week's episode. So I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Please like and subscribe for more content just like this one, and don't forget to hit the notification button so you never miss a video. Cheers.